All right, we are now joined by our fastest Ford driver of the number 34 Front Row Motorsports Ford, Michael McDowell. Michael, it's been a pretty good weekend for you, a great qualifying session, a good practice session. Are you feeling some good momentum heading into the weekend?
Yeah, it's been a great weekend so far. We just had a really fast car, and last night we were fortunate to keep it out of trouble, but able to race really hard and see what we had, and we made a few adjustments for today. So smooth. Yeah, we're all done now, and we'll get ready to race on Sunday.
All right, we are going to go to start with questions with Jordan Bianchi.
Jordan Bianchi, the Athletic. The Toyotas, won both dual races. They've had speed, obviously, today. It's all circumstantial, obviously. Yeah. We know that. Does that mean anything? Do you take anything away from that as saying, hey, we need work to do, or you're still confident about where you're at and how you stack up against them?
No, I mean, they definitely have speed. I think that when it comes to race time, they always do, even before their body update. I mean, so I feel like it's no different than any other year down here. I still feel like we're in a really good spot, and the Fords are fast. And yeah, they did a good job of getting in position and winning both races, but felt like, we were fast enough to win last night and be in position, just didn't make the right moves to do it. So I'm not worried about it, if that makes sense. And I don't feel like we're down at all. So yeah, it'll be fun on Sunday.
At the end of your duel, looked like you kind of got a little, shoved out of line there or whatever. Was that just a quick decision too, once you got out of line of this is coming down to the wire and yeah, I'm just going to go back and save my car?
No, it's just Denny threw a big block, and if you guys remember, about 10 laps before that, 10 cars crashed on the front straightaway. I had the option to do that and decided that was a bad option, and so rolled out of the gas. And just the timing of it is when I rolled out of the gas and got to Denny's bumper, the 2 was on mine, and so it kind of got me out into that third lane. And once I was in the third lane, I knew our chances of winning the race were over, so I just kind of bailed after that. But we had all intentions, and I had all intentions up until that point to try to race for the win. And then once I wasn't in position to win, then it made no sense to be in any sort of mess. Yep.
All right, we'll head to Matt Weaver.
Matt Weaver, Sportsnaut. In the Gen 6 car, you always seem to find your way towards the front. You're in the mix, Daytona, Talladega. And I frame it that way because I think of a guy like Denny who said in the transition from the Gen 6 to the next gen, he felt like he lost something that he had, that spark, and that because of the package or the way the cars race, he just doesn't have the same feel. Have you experienced that with this new car too?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I feel like I had work to do as far as what I was doing behind the wheel with the next gen car compared to what used to work. And so a lot of that is just situational muscle memory and kind of just your approach of how you, make runs, build runs, keep your energy up, keep your speed up. And I think it's different now in this next gen car. And I always love hearing these answers because I watch them because I want to hear what other drivers say. But if I was guessing, much like myself, Denny probably just went and studied the guys that were doing it well and figured out how he needed to adjust it, and now he'll be back to where he was. And I feel like that's the same for me, is I just had to make some adjustments on how I was approaching things and what I was doing to change the style, because the car drives differently and the runs come differently, and that third lane doesn't build like it used to. And keeping the cars behind you and keeping them attached and having more than one, there's a lot of things that go into it that didn't play in as much as it used to or did in the Gen 6 car. So I think it's just becoming a student and trying to figure out what this car needs and things you could have done better in the past.
And then with the Tier 1 Ford and Penske partnership, I'm curious, when you were going through your kind of free agency process or looking at your options, did you have an idea that this sort of commitment from the manufacturer or the team was kind of on the table, and was that kind of shaped by what you ultimately decided to do as well?
That's a loaded question. The timing of it, there was conversations that had started, but they were early on. So I couldn't honestly tell you that it had any effect on it. And really, ultimately, the decision wasn't in my hands. It was in Front Row's hands, and like I told you guys before, that's where I want to be. I want to turn this into a championship-winning team, and want to be the guy that helps steer the ship to do that. And so these things that have come together over the last few months are moving us in that direction to be able to do that and to sustain us for a long time to come. So yeah, things are really good right now. I'm happy. I'm happy where I'm at. Obviously, Daytona isn't an indication of your entire season, but it is a good indication of where we were last year and where we start this year. And I think that we'll be able to put ourselves in position to win multiple races and get into the playoffs. So that's what we want to do. And there's going to be a little bit of learning and growing process here over the next few weeks. But I think overall, once we get into the meat of the season, we're going to be in a much better spot than we were last year. Yep.
All right, we're going to head over here and then to Zach Albert and then Dustin Long.
Hey, Michael, Chris Collin with WNDB over here to your right.
Hey, thanks. Sorry.
Yeah. So last night, your front row teammate Kaz Grala raced his way into the Daytona 500. And I'm curious, now that there's going to be 3 front row cars in the race as opposed to just 2, does that change the plan? Were you making any considerations for the event that you were only going to have 2?
So it's always better to have more. And so Kaz making the race is really big for the company. And for us, the goal is to have us all together to make that work. But as you guys have seen, it doesn't always work that way, right? Obviously, with us starting on the front row, I'm not going to drop back to pick Kaz up early on. So he's got his work cut out for him to get up there. But there's a lot of strategy involved in that, and trying to pit together and doing all the things that we'll try to do to get us hooked up when it counts, once you sort of get past that halfway. So, yeah, it's great. It's great for the organization to have 3 cars in. It hopefully, if it all plays out, it'll help us at the end of the race when it counts. The good news is we still have a lot of Ford Mustangs out there, right? And so we should be in a pretty good position if we can keep everybody straight and running all the way to the end.
Thanks, Michael.
Yep.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Do you regularly check for your name on the trophy?
No, that's the first time. Well, I've seen it. I've seen it out in the display area, right? And I figure there's probably only one of these. Maybe there's more. How many of these you got?
I'm not sure if we have. I'd have to find out. Yeah.
That's the original, right? So I just hadn't seen it and just wanted to make sure they didn't make a duplicate. And maybe I was thinking maybe they're presenting this to me. Maybe they're giving us the big one. I didn't even win practice. I didn't even know I had to be here. I was getting yelled at. I was doing my debrief, and they're like, "You got to go to the media center." I said, "For what? We were like 10th. We got to go."
What do you feel like when you see it?
It's cool. I mean, obviously, this is what will last forever, right? This trophy will be here at Daytona International Speedway for a long time. I get a kick out of looking at it because, it goes every 10 years. And so you got Trevor Bayne, you got Michael Waltrip, Trevor Bayne, and then me, all in that same row. Michael Waltrip obviously gave me my first shot in the Cup Series and wouldn't be here without him. Michael Waltrip also hired me to train Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne's probably my best friend, and not probably, is my best friend. And so the CR3 names lined up there is kind of fun. Just not that big of a deal, but it's cool to see.
Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. You talked about debriefs, but now that you have this affiliation with Penske, what are the debriefs like, and how that differs from what you've done in the past, or have you guys really done a whole lot at this point to really get a sense of?
Yeah, we're learning as we go here of what that will look like. So I think that's it. It's just early stages. It's early on. I mean, I've always had a close working relationship with the other Ford drivers, but in particular with Joey. I've had a good relationship with him for a long time. So that part of it's pretty easy. Now I feel less awkward asking him things and talking about all of it, because I feel like we're supposed to be working together a little bit more. But as far as how that will look every weekend and week in and week out, we're still sorting through that. I know that the crew chiefs are all getting together and talking about it and discussing things and going over that. and so, yeah, I think we're all sort of learning what that process will look like, what's beneficial, what's not beneficial, what's too much, what's not too much, all those things. So it's early stages for that. So I think that there'll be some learning curves, and we'll figure out what works best.
There's a lot of talk about fuel saving for this race, and it's always been a part of it, but I think I get the sense it's even more so the last few years.
Maybe not after last night. I mean, the guys that saved really well, they only went one lap further, which was silly. So they could have gone another 6 or 7, and that would have made more sense. So I think it might change it up for Sunday. I think more than anything is you're getting data while you're out there to figure out what the options are and to give yourself more options with longer stages and, different windows, right? So some of that is just gaining information and how slow are you when you're doing it and how to do it efficiently. But after what I saw last night, I feel like there's a limit of you're wasting time in track position and not utilizing what you save. So I think it'll be we're all learning as we go as far as what that looks like.
All right. Thanks for your time and good luck this weekend.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.